Good morning. I am either going to sound like an 80-year-old man or I'm going to sound like a junior high boy as my voice will crack. But good morning to you. You know the drill. 1 John chapter 4. Let's go. Let's go. All right, I just got to test you a little bit. If something's repeated, what? If something's repeated, it's what? Yeah. You guys got it. Good stuff. 1 John 4, starting at verse 16 through 19, the word of the Lord. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us so that we will have confidence on the day of judgment. In this world, we are like Jesus. There is no fear in love. Perfect love drives out fear because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. Okay, weird fears. I do. I have two, and I am not telling them to you because some of my students found out and then they just started doing this thing to me, and so I'm not telling any of you. But do you have any weird fears? If you do, you have 10 seconds to tell somebody next to you what that weird fear is, if you're brave enough. I'm not talking snakes or spiders. I mean something weird. Got it? I love coming to Move and spending all week with you guys because I get to just hang out with you in the cafeteria, go with you, like to different places to eat or wherever you're going out around town. I love hanging out with you guys, but there's some weird things that I find out once I get on the inside of your youth groups. Some of your youth groups freak me out. Y'all are like cults. You got weird things that you do. Yeah, you know who you are. Y'all got weird things that you do. For example, I got into a van with a youth group one day this week, and they were starting to talk. They were starting to talk about different things and what they're afraid of and stuff. And one girl said, "Oh, I'm afraid of teeth." I thought, teeth? That's kind of weird, like your teeth. And she goes, and I showed her. I went like this, and she goes, ugh, like that. I was like, "Do you brush your teeth?" She's like, "Yep, that's it, but I don't touch them. I don't look at them. Yeah." I was like, so if somebody just scrapes their teeth, and I mean, she was like in panicky mode. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna quit messing with her." But so that was weird. And then the guy right behind her in the van goes, "Oh, I like teeth." He goes, "Sometimes I just want to pull them out of somebody, put them in a sandwich and eat them." And I was like, I need to go somewhere else. Like, this is not where I belong. If I go missing, that dude killed me. Like, if my teeth are missing, there's more evidence of it. There was another guy I was standing in line with for lunch, and we were talking, and he just randomly blurts out. He goes, "Sometimes," he goes, I have these freaky weird dreams, and I just wake up in a cold sweat that I'm not eating food, but my food is eating me." And I was like, really? This is fascinating. And so as he's telling me this, I was like, so like a gigantic taco with velociraptor teeth, just like kind of chomping down on you like this. And he's like, don't say those kinds of things. Can you imagine what kind of a freaky conversation the food eating me guy and the teeth guy could have together? Like, I think they're a part of two different youth groups. I hope so, But man, we have got some weird things that we fear. Today's contrast is love and fear. And one thing that has been made abundantly clear this week, no doubt about it, is that we do not have to fear death. Whether it was Hannah last night who threw down, like I like that girl, she was good, or whether it was Jamie the day before, there is no fear in punishment because we have an advocate that stands before us, covers us with his blood, breaks our chains for us. And we just have this, our text today affirms that perfect love drives out the fear of God's judgment. You don't have to be afraid of that. You are perfect. You are holy. Christ's atoning sacrifices made us those things. We don't feel that way all the time, but facts don't care about what? your feelings. Facts care about the facts, and Jesus did what he did for us. Fact, case closed. We are holy. We are perfect. Christ has unshackled us. He's made us free to live obedient in the shadow of the cross. And so we've wept hard and we've celebrated harder and we've stepped into the light of God's truth. And now what? Now what? What else is there? Does following Christ in obedience, does that mean that we always have to stand around like this? I mean, I have been crucified with Christ. I've been told to take up my cross daily. Obedience is hard, sin's fun. We know we got to be here because we don't want to walk over. You remember that, right? Does it mean that we have to stand around like this? Actually, no. Because Romans 6 clearly tells us that if we've been crucified with Christ, if we've died with Christ, we also resurrect with Christ. And that is a good thing. Jesus is not just an example of a good way to die. He's an example of a good way to live. And he gives abundant life and joy today. Not just future heaven. I'm thankful for that. I look forward to that. But I'm here right now today. And if God gives me tomorrow, I want to live abundantly. I want to live free. And you can't do that when you're living in fear. With your new freedom, I hope that you can remember to keep putting yourself through the 3 tests, the love test, the belief test, the obedience test. And today, we're actually gonna walk through another love test because it's mentioned 46 times. It is the key theme throughout every single Bible verse in the book of John. I mean, you just keep on reading and it's gonna mention love over and over again. And this panel here kind of helps us visualize the contrast between love and fear. As a matter of fact, like if you're on this side of the stage, if you're far over here, what word do you see? Love, there you go. If you're way over here, what word do you see? Fear. And if you guys are right here in the middle, what do you see? You see the newest flavor at Starbucks, you know, like that. That sound like a drink that you could get there? Yeah, yeah. But then you just start concentrating on one contrast or the other, on the black or on the white, and you see those words pop right out, don't you? And it's plainly obvious. Most of you probably saw that as they were putting this up here because your eyes are drawn to that. Which word is your heart drawn to? Which word's waiting for you back at home? Yeah, I mean, Mike got up here last night at the end of the night, coached it, and it was just like, you know, I mean, he started screaming about Satan's butt kicking, and we kicked him out of this place, and I truly believed that. Like, it was a good night. Where did he go? He's just waiting for you in your bedroom. He didn't go, well, I can't do anything now. No, he's the constant tempter, the consistent liar. He'll just wait for his opportunity. So where's he at? In your bedroom, your living room, your school, place of work? He's waiting for you, but you have to fear that. Which ones of these are you drawn to on a consistent basis? Love or fear? Love or fear? See, we're gonna go through another love test, and we've been talking a lot about love and demonstrating love quite a bit this week. Day 2, we focused on that when you truly love people, you will recognize how you're treating people. If you truly love people, you're just gonna see how you're treating people. And maybe we don't love as well as we think we do, but maybe we do. But today we're gonna look at it in a different way. Today's aspect for love is that when you love people, you become aware of how you're leading people, not just treating them, but leading them. Love is one of the greatest indicators that you are stepping into the light. And on the contrast, fear is one of the greatest indicators that you're shrinking back into darkness. And so if love is not extended beyond this place, I can guarantee you should be having red flags, Holy Spirit siren warning saying you're shrinking back into darkness. You're moving backwards. Don't do that. Keep stepping into the light. And when you keep stepping into the light, you're gonna be stepping into love. And when you're stepping into love, you're gonna be well aware of how you're leading people to Jesus, because unshackled people unshackle people. Freed people free people. Somebody did that for you. If you have a friend or an adult leader or whoever that's in here that has shared the love of Jesus with you and got you to this place where you are right now, whether that's spiritually or even physically to move, just raise your hand. If you've got somebody that helped you unshackle, helped you step into the light, moved you through the doorway, and did all of these things with you, whether again physically here in the elements that we participate in or in a long journey of discipleship that they've been working with you, if you've got that person, is there somebody that has you that they would point to you and say, that's my guy, that's my girl that did that for me? Because freed people free people. That's what love is all about. And if you truly believe that Christ has set you free from the fear of judgment and that you're not being looked down upon by God, he's not watching your every move and going, oh, now I'm sending him to hell. No, we're perfect, we're holy because of Christ Jesus. And if you believe that, then you will want to share this with other people so that they can experience it as well. I'm not afraid of judgment. So why am I afraid of sharing that? So maybe we like the darkness of popularity. Maybe we like the darkness of fitting in. Maybe we like the darkness of our clubs. Maybe we like the darkness of just whatever. It's waiting for us. And I want the light to be waiting for us. The same advocate that stands before you in judgment is the exact same advocate that stands with you when you're leading others to him in love. So what are you so fearful of? Most students I know, most people, even myself, I get caught up in this, is we get afraid of the what ifs. We're not worried about, we don't concern ourselves with our responsibility of loving other people. Instead, we're always worried about the response of other people. And so what if they don't believe what I have to say to them? What if they ask me something about God that I don't know the answer to and I just look like a fool? What if they start debating or arguing with me? What if they get mad at me for shoving Jesus down their throat? What if I'm rejected? So what if you're rejected? Welcome to the club of losers. And our leader was a loser on this earth. He was nothing, despised and rejected. And he says, if they treated me this way, he's saying this to his disciples, and he's saying it to his disciples, if they treated me this way, they're gonna treat you the exact same way as well. Satan was a serpent well before he was a dragon. He was a serpent described in Genesis, and then he's a dragon in Revelation. And he would much rather seduce you by fear, the fear of the what ifs, so that you shrink back into the darkness rather than destroy you like a dragon. Because when he destroys people in the book of Acts, the church flourishes. When persecution comes, the church flourishes. And that's going on around the globe today. The more pressure to not speak in the name of Jesus Christ, the more the church just does that. Do you know why we don't have persecution here in the United States? Why we're not being 100% fully rejected and dying for our faith here in the United States is because the seduction of the serpent works. And he keeps us afraid of the what ifs. But what if you simply just shared what went on here with somebody else? And it's indescribable, but you draw them in. What if the person that is the most hard-hearted in your life and they would never, ever come to Jesus, that you have faith enough to pray and fast for them? And you serve the God of the impossible. And if you don't think God can change their heart, they're not the ones with the problem. You're the one with the faith problem, because our God does impossible things. And you know the way your heart was and how he cracked it and molded it, shaped it into something new. What are you so afraid of? Does your youth group have that kid? Do you know what I mean by that kid? You know that kid that drives your youth leader absolutely crazy in one moment, but then they're doing awesome things in the next moment? Now, don't point. It's rude. It's that kid that keeps Tylenol in business because he's always giving you youth leaders a headache all the time. It's that kid is the reason why everybody is so sleepy today, because they drank 12 Mountain Dews at 4 in the morning and they're like, let's go. That kid. We all have that kid around us. Yeah. The kid that drives people crazy one moment and then, they're fantastic the next. I had those kids. There's this kid, Andy. He was a high school senior. And I took him with me to a Believe conference with a bunch of junior hires, and he's leading a group of sixth grade boys and all the time. And then they're up late in their room and everything. And then the next day, I find out that this was all going on late at night on this little weekend conference that Andy taught all of these junior high boys how to play poker. So he's teaching them all how to play poker, and he sharks them out of all of their actual money. And he does this, and the whole time he's teaching them how to play poker, and he's collecting all this money, he keeps saying, don't worry about it, because that missionary that they've been talking about, that this missionary needs our support, and so we're gonna give this money to this missionary. And then before I know what happens, he takes all of their money that they need for going home and their meals and everything, and dumps it in the bags for the missionary, and it's gone. And I have to be the one that explains to the parents. And then Andy's like, well, I'm broke because he's just drawn into this mission work. And he wanted to support it. And then I'm like, well, somebody's got to pay for their food on the way home. And he's like, well, I'm broke. I put all my money in there. And I'm like, so who's paying for it? More Tylenol for Bob. Like, oh, and then I got to explain it to the parents. Right motive, wrong method. Right motive, wrong method. He's that kid. Right motive, wrong method. There's a little seventh grade boy named Will. Will had this sweet, tender heart. It's just compassion for everybody. And one of my youth leaders, his mother passed away really suddenly and unexpectedly. And so our youth group is trying to provide comfort for this youth leader and everything. And Will went up to him and like, can I talk to you just one-on-one? And gets him and my friend Jeff's explaining to me what Will's telling him, and he's got him, and he wants to pray for his youth leader. He wants to step up just like your youth leaders have done for you when you've gone through hard times. And so he's like, man, I know exactly how you feel, is what he tells Jeff. Now his mom is alive and well. Both of his parents are fine. Jeff goes, oh, okay. And Will starts to talk about how 3 weeks ago their cat got ran over. And how that broke his family's heart, and they missed the cat, and they had to bury the cat, and he keeps going on and on about the cat. Now, I understand his heart, right motivation to want to comfort, but kind of wrong method, because he's comparing his cat with Jeff's mother that just passed away. That's not the same at all. And then Will prayed for him, and Jeff told me that he prayed more about the cat than he did his mom and the family situation there. But Jeff knew his heart. He knew what he was trying to do. He knew, and he didn't get everything right. No, he didn't get any of it right at all. It's like counseling 101. You don't do anything like that, but it's a seventh grade boy that was compelled to go and pray. And then there's Manny, who he took a homeless guy into our church and hid him in a closet right outside our 5th and 6th grade classroom area. And for 2 weeks, without me knowing it, him and his brother are bringing this guy food and water and job applications from Taco Bell and stuff, and helping him razors so he can shave, and helping him get back on his feet. And meanwhile, there's a bunch of 5th and 6th graders over here, and we don't know anything about this guy that's in the closet for 2 stinking weeks. Right motivation, wrong method completely. Then there's this kid, David. Oh, David, he was, all the gray hair on my heads are named David because, yeah, David was just that kid that he was constantly mouthing off to me. If I'd say it was black, he'd say it was white. If I said we should go here, he was just mouthing off to me and saying we should go here. I had a youth sponsor named Todd who he really respected. They were both athletes. Todd's this giant football player. And so David, constantly at move, he's just being this way. And he's real snotty to younger kids and stuff. He just was kind of a jerk all the time. When I was around, he tried sometimes, but man, his mouth just got the better of him all the time. And finally, publicly, I just laid into him and just told him, you have got to start putting other people first and shut your mouth. You just cannot speak to people this way. You need to be the one leading them in an all-inclusive, everybody come together. You need to step up with this. Whatever. And he stomps off. Choke the kid. Like he had such leadership in him, but he just would not lead. I'm telling him to lead people. Then it's time for bed, and his buddy Todd, the youth sponsor's in there talking to him, and I go in and like, hey guys, it's time for bed, and like shutting it down. And David goes, what? I've got a youth sponsor in here. If we want to stay up and talk, what's the big deal? And Todd just goes, wham, and just nails him in the arm. He goes, every time you speak, I'm going to hit you. At this point, I have no idea what to do. And David goes, what? And he goes, wham! Like, he goes, ow! And he goes, whoa! And he goes, if you cry, I'm gonna hit you twice. And I just go, okay, good night. See you guys later. I just close the door. Stay up as late as you want. That week, I didn't hear much from David at all. I mean, that was like night one. And then the last night, there is just this music blaring out of his room. I mean, it's just going solid. And I hear all of it, and I'm like woken up at 1 a.m, and I go down to the room, and I see both boys and girls like going into David's room. And our entire youth, I mean, breaking every move rule possible. All of our youth group, no youth leaders, are all in this room. And I go in there because of all the noise, and it was like a cheesy 90s movie, you know, when the principal walks into a party and it's like the music stops, it's like, and everybody's just staring at me. There is this spread of food. It was like these little apartment things. There's a spread of food that is on this table. They have a disco ball. Music is going. Like there's decorations everywhere coming out of this room. And David all week long was like pocketing food in the cafeteria, like ham and cheese, like everything was buffet style there, cookies, all this stuff, chips, and then he's getting it into his room and putting it in the fridge, and drinks, and I mean all this stuff. And then he rolled up all this little ham and like put toothpicks in it, and like it looked like just buffet here, bread. I don't, like, what was he doing? I go, what is going on? You told me to like lead people and be nice. Right motivation, wrong method. What do? We're breaking every rule. We've stolen. We got guys and or girls in guys' dorms now. Like I have no idea what's going on in the back in like the bedrooms at all. I don't have a clue. So well, somebody make me a sandwich, and I just stayed there and partied with them. Yeah, there's Katie. There's Katie, this girl, sweet as can be. She was so sweet, never broke any rule. We're down in Mexico, and she's like working on this church in Mexico, and there's this little 5-year-old boy that was following her everywhere. She'd share her lunch with him and just ministering to him and loving this kid. And then the last day comes, and she's so heartbroken because we're celebrating because we completed the project, but she's got to say goodbye to these kids, but especially this boy. And the boy was attached to her because she knew Spanish, and she went down to reach out to him because she saw what she thinks was the dad slap the kid. And she didn't know what went on, but he was crying, and so she went, she comforted him, and then just said, stick with me. And so all week long, this boy's with her, and so we're leaving, and as I'm like on the bus and, you know, just getting situated and everything, and we're driving off, one of the kids says, hey, you should probably go talk to Katie. I'm like, yeah, she probably is more upset than most of us here. And so I said, Katie, you doing okay? And she's just looking straight forward, and she goes, mm-hmm. She's lying through her teeth about something, and I'm like, okay, but this girl doesn't lie. I'm moving on, and then somebody else is like, and I'm like, Katie, what is going on? And as I'm talking to her, I see the blanket under her legs move. We cannot know. And then a little brown boy comes out from under there. No. We cannot kidnap a child. We can't do this. She was mad at me. She argued with me, and she started like telling me what was going on. I'm like, Katie, this kid has a family, and she's talking about it. And then everybody else is conspiring against me, and they're siding with her. And I'm telling the bus driver to turn it around. And I was the biggest jerk as I put that kid off the bus and said, see ya, and we took off, and nobody spoke to me. Like they were angry and upset. We worked things out, right motive. She was going to take that kid home because she had 4 adopted brothers, and her dad was a lawyer, and she knew if I could get him back to the States that we'll just make him a part of our family, and she was probably right. But this was so wrong. Youth pastors, do you have the next person that's next to you? Somebody in your group that needs to replace you as the youth minister one day because they're that kid and you know that they've got the right motivation. They might be screwing things up sometimes, but you see it in them. Do you have the next missionary that's in there with you? In your group? Do you have the next worship leader that needs to be taking over what these guys are doing? Do you have the next preacher? Do you have the next person that could actually lead dozens and dozens and dozens of people to Christ in your school? Do you have that kid in your youth group that their family is horrible and torn apart and they are the ones that are going to be able to bring healing because their shackles have been undone? What are you so afraid of? What are you so afraid of? Every one of those stories was started by a meek, mild kid that wore tight t-shirts and had autism, and he walked around to every single member of our youth group and told them exactly why he loved them. Because perfect love drives out fear. Perfect love drives out fear, and that was the catalyst that tripled the number of students that we had in our youth group, not because of anything that I was doing, but because they were out there ministering, and half of them were screwing it up big time, and they had the right heart and the right motivation, but they were going to capture the love of Jesus wherever it is that they went and made sure that other people knew about it. Love is not just about treating somebody nice. Love is about leading somebody well to be unshackled, just like you were unshackled. They did not get to be here with you today, but they're back there. And the same Holy Spirit that was present last night is the same Holy Spirit that is waiting back there. And you tell me what your excuse is, and you tell me which word you're drawn to. And don't you dare be selfish and get fat on the word at Move and you go home and you starve everybody that needs it. What are you so afraid of? The advocate that stands before you is the advocate that stands with you. And perfect love drives out fear. And when you give into fear, you'll give up on love. When you give into fear, you will give up on love. When you give into fear, you'll give up on love. Perfect love drives out fear. Go love.